Oh, come on. What do you mean roll video? We're killing ourselves out here. You be ready. We play mood music.
I'm not working this way again, ever. This is absolutely horrible.
Hello, I'm John Waters, and I'm supposed to announce there is no smoking in this theater, which I think is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard of in my life.
It's one of those kind of movies.
That's about right. I think that's about right.
Chitty bang bang. Chitty bang bang. Chitty bang bang.
Hello, America.
Bang bang.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Chitty chitty. Bang bango.
Our fine fork bendered friend. Bang bang. Chitty bang bang.
Sort of like Duke of Hazzards.
Dookie.
Duke of Hazards, huh?
The Dukes.
Toot.
The Dukes
Sweet.
of Hazzard.
Toot. Sweet. Toot toot toot. The musical treat that you eat.
Whoa, yeah. Okay.
Whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
So, Original Misfits are playing Times Square this year.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like October, and I think it's the last time they're gonna play together.
You going?
I'd like to. What's the last time you're gonna see the fucking Danzig singing with fucking the Misfits?
Right.
Never.
It's the last time.
It's the last time.
Have you ever seen Danzig with the Misfits?
No.
No, it's
So it'll be
never hasn't happened.
It'll be your first time too.
It happened like twice last year.
Oh, it did?
2 or 3 times.
I thought they were done
Yeah.
after the legal battle.
Right, no, they got together last year like 2 or 3 times.
Oh,
The hate
it's very
must be
big of them.
palpable between them.
Right.
Right.
They must really need the money.
I don't see.
I don't know if
how
they
not.
need it, but they're making
They want it.
money.
They're getting it.
Like, that's
Sure.
fucking money.
That's hard money.
It's like, you could fucking sell out Madison Square Garden at like
I can't imagine that the
$150 a
Misfits
ticket.
could sell out Madison Square
They're
Garden.
doing
Are
it.
they doing it?
They're doing
It's
it.
really hard to imagine that there are that many people who like the
Danzig is
Misfits.
singing it.
Right, I
It's
know.
not
I
that
know.
hard to imagine that many people
Like
would
think
go
of
see
or
the Misfits.
when you like went to like every school I ever went to, there was no more than like 4 people who liked the Misfits. 5 or 6.
But so it's like all of those people
Yeah,
from around the country.
I wouldn't be surprised.
If we assume that every school has like at the most 12 people who like the Misfits. At
Yeah, but it was like
2.
when you were going.
But that was like when you were in school, and now like we're out of school, and like
And there was other people in school before you were in school that liked Misfits.
It's just not popular music. You can't argue that it's pop music or it's popular music. It's not.
But they're like
It's maybe more
pretty
popular than
well-known.
every other punk band. Like along with like the Ramones and the Sex Pistols, you got the Misfits would be just under that, and you know
yeah.
I would much.
they're among the most popular punk bands for sure. But
But there you go.
I mean,
so Ramones, it's easy to imagine. So yeah,
I wouldn't
perhaps
pay
the
$100
Misfits could.
to see the Ramones.
I mean, they
or
are.
the
So
Pistols, but
I would
I'd
actually
definitely pay $100
not the
to
Sex
see the
Pistols,
Misfits.
but maybe Public Image, which was Johnny Rotten's second band, which I actually really like, and definitely the Ramones. 'Cause I really like the Ramones actually a lot.
Yeah, they're cool.
It's so fun.
So Pat wins
It's
the
so fun
conversation.
Yeah. I guess because I like the Ramones, so I win.
Such a fucking hipster.
Why is it hipster to like the Ramones now? Or
Yep.
I don't. I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's hipster to like almost. It's hipster
No, it's
to like the
hipster to like-
B-52s, which are awesome.
It's
it's
hipsters to
hipster
like
to like-
Johnny Ramone's second band better than.
Oh, Johnny Rotten's. It is. It's objectively better though. It's a much better band.
It's like, oh yeah, Johnny
more-
Rotten's other band
It's
is
more
way better.
Well, I'm sorry
God.
that I happen to agree with hipsters because I'm correct. You know, it is a better band. It's more thoughtful.
So it's just like
it's better
a
instrumentation.
broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah,
So the hipsters are right like
twice a day.
twice a day.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Well, I mean, no one ever said the hipsters were wrong. I mean, their job is to go out and find good things. A lot of it's good.
It is good.
You know, that's what
can't
they
argue
consider.
with
That's their job. It's like, you know, I'm a hipster. My job is to find hip things. It's like, naturally, they're going to find some hip things. That's their job. Like an archaeologist, occasionally they will find a dinosaur, you know?
Yep.
Let's
Or some weird sedimentary rock.
2 D20s.
Or some sedimentary rock and roll. Yeah, sure.
Some black rock and roll.
black metal.
Eek. Eek, you're dead. Eek, you're dead.
Lay down your soul to the gods, rock and roll.
Okay, let's start. Welcome to the Cinema Underground. I'm Pat Corrigan.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey,
Brandon.
Pat.
Hi.
I'm an alcoholic.
He's talking about me.
Okay. So we get Jeff, Brandon, and
Hey.
that's Mark Kitchen, and
Hey.
that's Andy Davis over there, saying hey to the people in the streets with the meat feet.
We're also alcoholics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay. That's fine. It's a socially acceptable.
Especially during this
Yeah.
time period.
Yeah. Why not? Fuck it. Legalizing weed too. That's socially
I can't
acceptable.
speak for Andy.
So if you're a weed addict, which I know is rampant, weed addiction, that's also socially
know they-
acceptable.
Weed heads.
Have caffeine
Degeneracy.
addiction.
Do you know that Oakland, just the city,
Yeah.
legalized, well, not just mushrooms, but all natural hallucinogens?
Okay. So you got
Oh,
your
so
Hawaiian
like
baby wood rose
Hawaiian baby
seeds,
wood rose
morning
seeds.
glory seeds,
Amanita.
mushroom caps. I don't know what that is.
Peyote.
It's like the,
Peyote.
The caps
The drugs.
yeah.
It's the drug. It's the drugs.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's kind
My
of
sister
crazy.
lives near there.
Yeah.
What street?
I was thinking about today.
Probably not.
LSD.
You don't want to live in
LSD
Oakland, but
synthesized
probably
from
not
a
in
mold that
Oakland
comes from
anymore.
barley. Is that not true?
yes.
Yeah.
So they think of mold, and then
So
you got
technically
mushrooms.
the-
That makes okay.
Technically, the mold itself would be
Right.
decriminalized there.
Yeah. So you can
Not,
eat
I don't
that.
think, not that
But
there's like a
things
lot
are-
of
things
air.
are
So you
done
can
to
just
the
lick
mold.
the mold off your walls now.
Off of your bread. I
No,
think.
you can just
barley.
you
off
can
your
make it into
barley.
like a drink.
and suck it down. Get
Other
fudged
thing
up.
that people did before was used to be synthesized into
Right.
LSD.
Well, you hear things about like mass hysteria, and it's actually
Yeah,
just like
singing in
everybody's
fire.
barley got moldy,
wait,
or
singing?
even moldy bread, or maybe they're putting barley on in their bread. I don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
But I know it happened.
Barley on your bread.
You want some barley on your bread? You're gonna be dead.
Yeah, that's how they think like with the Salem witch trials and just like random villages would just go crazy for like
Yeah.
a couple days. And
Witch,
probably
burn her. Yeah,
possibly that.
absolutely.
She weighs more than a duck.
Yeah,
She weighs the same as a duck.
that would be the coolest job to like invent witch logic like that. Anybody could do it, of course, but I'd
What
probably
else
be good at
floats
it.
on water? Very tiny stones.
Very small rocks.
Yes. What else?
newt.
A duck.
I felt better.
Yes. So she weighs the same as a duck.
Precisely.
It's a fair cop.
Okay. So we're not doing an episode on Monty Python, although we will eventually. Today we're doing film noir. Or film noir. Plot 2. Sequel to Part 1, indeed. So this time we're doing The Big Sleep, 1946, Howard Hawks, and Nocturne, also 1946. Edwin L. Marin is the director on that one. So just as a start to get us into this, I noticed something. So both Nocturne and The Big Sleep deal with an older sister trying to protect a younger sister from the law. The latter, which The Big Sleep, may even have inspired Nocturne, being that they came out in the same year. And I know Nocturne, I don't think there was an original book there, but there might have been. Whoever, if somebody researched it, I didn't.
I do not believe
But
so.
there is an original book for Big Sleep that came out much earlier, 6 to 10 years earlier. So they could have pulled that out of there. It's definitely that's a possibility. But the sister in Nocturne is like pure.
Yeah,
kinda,
my
you know?
kid's sister.
Yeah, my kids. I gotta protect my kid's sister. And of course, the stories play out differently, but because they're different. But there's the sister, and the one is pure. The sister, and the other is corrupt and kind of like semi-retarded, maybe.
But they're opposites.
They're opposites, right? I feel like they might have seen that and been like, we can do that, but we'll switch it up. We'll switch it up good.
Opposites.
And they both came out the same year.
Zits.
And Nocturne is like a B-movie version of the like big Hollywood, The Big Sleep, which was a big Hollywood movie, you know?
That's why it was fucking impossible to find.
Yeah, no, Nocturne is very hard to find. I had to pay for it on YouTube.
Oh.
Did you?
You didn't have to pay for it on YouTube. I could not find that copy.
I
You
should
just
have.
look it up,
I
up
should've-
on Google. It's like the third video shows for.
Oh yeah, I just did it. Gave him $2. I said, take my $2.
Yeah.
I'll watch this movie,
Yeah.
and I did, and I liked it.
I'll
But
convince Matt to reimburse you.
okay, good. So yeah,
Oh wait, can we do that for all the movies?
No. No.
Pay for them and have your boss reimburse us?
No. Not happening.
It's
Sure.
happening.
It'd be a pretty sweet deal for
I
him.
think it's happening Hey, get Matt to reimburse me for these 3 movies that
You're not on his payroll.
You just gotta sell it right.
Who cares? You just tell him Pat did it. And
Pat
Pat has
did
to
it.
watch it 3 times.
I had to watch it 3 times
For work.
in a row.
For work.
At work.
At work.
At work. I watched this at work, therefore, you pay me.
While I was working, I watched this movie.
It's a non-taxable
I
reimbursement.
did watch Douglas Sirk's, what was it called? Life.
Mall Cop.
Yeah, I always watch that. But this was, what the fuck was the name of that movie? It was like The Imitation of Life. It was very good, and I watched it at work.
Nice.
It was a great movie.
Instead of film.
No, it's not a film noir, but it's a melodrama.
Like
Oh, so
it's
like
not
Really mellow, and then it's dramatic at parts. So it's like watching a flatlining patient who suddenly comes back to life and then dies again. If it was a wavelength. Oh, this is my cell phone, I think. It's my cellular phone here, Timmy. Okay, I don't really know how to start this. We could talk about the sexuality. That's the main thing I think of when I think of film noir, sex. And when I think of private detectives, I think of sex. Every time. Invariably.
Yeah, I mean, all the main characters certainly driven both by their jobs or high society or sex. You know,
Right.
It's all three of those things.
And
pretty
or.
much.
Well, both films, I mean, you have what was the name of the actor who played the detective in Nocturne? I wrote it down, but it's way down in the notes. Way down.
Garn, or no, it's fucking
Garth Brooks.
Garth Brooks.
yes,
Well,
Garth Brooks, exactly.
Chris.
George Raft.
George Raft. Okay, George Raft is kind of like a low rent version of Humphrey Bogart in a lot of ways. He's not as good as an actor. Humphrey Bogart's like he's a good actor.
Stiffy.
I mean, it's the 40s, but so there's not. It's a different school of acting, but he's definitely George Raft is not as good. But both characters are weird sexual things are happening with both men. Like one guy lives with his mother and is like constantly trying, he almost wants to have sex with this lady, but he doesn't have sex with the lady. But he's always going to do it. And then there's the same thing with The Big Sleep, except there's a difference in The Big Sleep, because in The Big Sleep, the book, he doesn't have sex with anybody. There's no interact. I mean, Vivian in the book is like a pretty cold bitch, gambling bitch. Like, there's no love sequence. Like the banter with them on the phone, passing it back and forth. That's not in the book. They don't fall in love.
Right, because there's definitely some sexual
Right.
tension going on between Vivian and
That's the point. I mean, they rested the second half of the movie on that sexual tension, and them getting together was a thing, which maybe it's because I read the book but didn't feel entirely plausible to me. But the weird thing with the book is Philip Marlowe. He doesn't. There's 7 or 8 books. He never has sex until the second to last book, which was The Long Goodbye. He ends up hooking up.
these all Raymond Chandler novels?
They're all Raymond Chandler novels. Yeah, he ends up hooking up with somebody, but everything else, like in this movie, I don't know the scenes in the book, and I can't remember if I saw it in the movie when I watched it today, but there's a scene where Carmen Sternwood comes to his apartment, and in the book she's naked in bed, and he says, "Get out of here!" And then he talks about her corrupt body and how he wants nothing to do with it, and he tears the sheets off his bed because her nakedness touched them. He's very uncomfortable with sex.
Wow.
Is the point. He's very uncomfortable, and I think this makes sense because I think when we're talking about film noir, we're talking about private detectives, we're talking about voyeurism, which is like a surrogate for the watcher of the film. You see what I'm saying? Okay.
oh.
So he's he's a private detective, which is a naturally voyeuristic profession. So you're looking at a guy whose job is to be a voyeur.
Right.
So naturally he's going to have some trouble with actual human physical contact because he likes to observe things. He likes to watch.
He wants to be in control.
Well, I think it is a form of control, but I think he wants to watch more than anything. I don't think he wants to touch the human flesh. And also,
Just robotic.
there's a neo-noir movie, which is the sequel to Roman Polanski's Chinatown, which is the sequel is directed by Jack Nicholson. It's called The Two Jakes. And that movie, I think, and that character is supposed to be Jake Gittes is supposed to be a variation on the Marlowe character, but he also has weird sexual things. Like there's a scene in the Two Jakes where there's this woman, they're all hot and heavy, and he's like, okay, pull your pants down, turn around, and do not look at me. And I think they're referencing Marlowe's like problems.
That sounds pretty hot.
Sexuality, you know, problems with like human contact and needing to be stepped back. You know, needing the voyeuristic thing, which of course calls back to the audience, which is asking you, it's like, is it okay to like? These people are fictional, you know. Is it okay to be voyeuristic? That's the impulse, you know.
That sort of goes along with the beginning scene where he meets the general, who looks like Professor X.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only time you see him in the whole movie where he looks like totally unkempt. You know, is when he's actually has to interact with the client.
Yeah.
Well, he was
also
in the greenhouse.
True, but he was an exceptionally sweaty mess for that.
Well, that's because the greenhouse is hot. Because he's lizard. He lives on heat. General Stanwood.
But still, it sort of goes along with that.
Well,
you're introduced to him as a sweaty mess, and you never see him like that
Let's
again.
go a step further with the sexual thing, because that's not. I mean, I'm gonna make it all about sex. But anyway,
perfect.
General Stanwood is an old man. Cannot drink booze. He has to experience booze vicariously by watching other people drink and watching other people smoke. Probably, he wants to watch other people fuck, right? And he had this dude,
presumably,
Tom
sure.
Regan. Is it Tom
His
Regan?
parts don't even work. Sean Regan.
Sean Regan. Okay. He had this buddy friend who was supposed to sort of work for him, but was mainly the guy's job. He was like a son to him, but also his job was to like live life and bang his daughter, I guess.
Right.
So he could kind of experience life through him, which is another voyeuristic idea, which calls attention to the voyeuristic nature of watching a movie.
Yeah, come live with me and bang my daughter so I can live vicariously through
That's
you
what's going
banging my
on.
daughter.
And then when Marlowe comes in, it's like he starts treating him the same way. Like they're immediately buddies, you know. Immediately.
Oh,
He's like,
already got
you like
accosted
people
by his
fucking your daughter too?
he's like, I'll do that. I can do that for you. Yeah. And he sits there getting all sweaty and is like, and he's talking about the orchids. He doesn't even like orchids. They're excuse for the heat, you know.
What did he call the orchids with the?
He said they're like flesh.
Yeah, something about there's the sweet rotten.
Sweet
the
smell of rotting flesh or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, which is like calling into whole weird carnal fucked upness. I don't know. It's just weird. Like this General Stanwood is weird. The men in these movies are always weird. You know, and the women are always somewhat like dirty or something. Like there's some sort of like they're associated with getting yourself unclean, or or maybe becoming a sap. What's that?
Thoughts.
Thoughts?
Thoughts.
That hoe over there.
Thoughts.
It's a thing
Thoughts.
on the internet.
Fucking thoughts.
I don't. Yeah. Okay. It's the internet. I don't know what the Agnes Lozier. She was like the dirty woman who she was fucking the little guy at the end. She was just trying to I don't know, she was just trying to get away with things with various men, and that was her job. And Carmen, at least in the book, was far more like she was a gambler. She was sleeping with guys to borrow money from them. And then you have the exploitation of the voyeurism of the guys going into the bookshop and get the nudie pictures, you know.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering about
Geiger's
that.
bookshop. You know?
Yep.
It's all there, man.
Giger.
Giger.
I think he says Geiger in the movie.
he said
He
Geiger.
pronounces it Geiger.
Yeah.
But I believe if you were German, you would pronounce it Giger. But he does not. And there's a scene in the... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna mention this podcast that I listen to with my daughter. It's called Lizard People.
Huh.
And they talk about conspiracy theories and shit. And they have a guest on, and this guest just pretended he was H.R. Giger for fucking an hour.
Wait, isn't that?
H.R. Giger. He has that
when you
weird
spell
moist voice.
Isn't that Geiger? H.R. Geiger?
Yeah, I would
Well,
say
some most people
Geiger.
say Giger, but if you hear him say it, it says
It's
it like
spelled with an
Giger.
I, right? Just an I.
Yeah.
I would say Giger. It just sounds cooler to me.
Yeah.
I believe.
But when you hear Giger nerds, they always say Giger, but I always say Geiger because it looks like Geiger, and I like the sound of it.
It sounds better. It sounds cooler, more dark.
H.R. Geiger.
Giger, hello.
Sounds like you're detecting radioactivity.
Geiger
the
count.
podcast was just an interview with H.R. Geiger from like his
From his doom house.
from his beyond death realm.
Right.
Wait, they interviewed
Have you
him?
guys seen his house? Geiger's house?
Oh,
No, it
yes,
was
it's
some
got
guy
that little
pretending to be
miniature.
him.
Oh, okay.
And he like
train.
used
Yeah,
weird
yeah,
silly
it's got the
accent.
train and
Yeah.
like
miniature roller coaster.
it was great. It was hilarious.
definitely
It was
seems like a
fucking
weird guy.
hilarious. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
It was lizard people.
Lizard people. Anyway, yeah.
Pretty
Geiger's
popular
house is like a
podcast.
carnival of macabre. It's awesome. He has a little train where you ride through his house and look at all of his weird, dark shit. Geiger's just weird. And also he's afraid of, like, diseases, I guess. Really intensely afraid of them, or was before he died.
I'm
Probably
afraid
of
of
disease.
diseases.
Yeah.
As you should be.
Who wants to
He's
get the disease?
pathologically afraid of diseases.
he's
of getting
dead.
diseases from random things.
Yeah, he's dead.
He dead?
He dead. He died.
When that happened?
couple
Last
years
year,
ago.
maybe the year before.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
90s.
No, it wasn't the
No, it was,
90s.
I remember
Definitely
being alive,
the
like,
2000s
not
for
long
sure.
ago.
Yeah. So back to these penises that don't work.
Don't talk about me like
I
that.
have to talk about them. It's all you can think about in this movie.
Oh, you're not talking about me.
Well, it's
All right.
not big not in the movie The Big Sleep so much, but more in the book. But yeah, for sure, Philip Marlowe. He didn't. Well, the bookstore woman, at least in the show, he instead of in the movie, he went he went after Giger rather than sleeping with the very willing bookstore lady, which was an interesting choice. I mean, he could have got. I mean, he did have to do his job, of course, which was in the movie, but in the book, it was more like I don't know. There was no sexual banter in that scene. Marlowe don't do that. Marlowe's not like that.
Well, I mean, there sort of was, though. I mean, he had the bottle of booze in
In the-
his
yeah, oh,
pocket.
in the movie,
He's
yeah,
like, oh, it's
absolutely.
raining. Looks like we're going to have to spend some time together.
Right. That
baby."
was the movie, though. I'm saying
Yeah.
in the book. It
Oh,
wasn't-
in the book?
It didn't play out
Okay.
like that.
Rapey.
He wasn't raped. She was into it. She
Yeah,
was
she was
like,
totally
she was
into it.
like, she
She
closed
locked the
shop
door.
and locked the door. And he was like, "Hey, take your fucking glasses off, you nerd." Basically, and she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and took them off and took her hair down. And was like, "Am I acceptable now for you to jerk off on?" And she was like, "Pretty much, maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see about that."
But did they see the thing is that it was like implied like something happened, but then like
Something was about to happen.
yeah, but then like her clothes like their clothes are still like perfectly on. Like
Yeah, no, there's no like, no, there's no.
That would have been
deal.
unacceptable for this time period.
Right. I mean, they're playing it right. I mean, they don't get hung up on Marlowe's weird sexual voyeurism or anything in the movie. That's more of the book, and in more movies that reflect from later noir, and definitely in Nocturne, for sure, because the whole thing with his mother was just bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his mother was a cool character, for sure. Like, she, like, helped him solve the crime.
Arguably a better detective.
Yeah, definitely. But he was a mama's boy, and that was his thing. And like everyone's kind of poking at him. Like the woman's like, "What's your deal, man?" Like he's like, "I don't know, I live at home with my mom. I play Skyrim, and I don't know, I'm a girl." Basically, there was very awkward interactions, and like, yeah, Marlowe's not awkward though. Even in the books, he's fucking cool as shit. It's just, you know, he's a private eye through and through. But also, what I thought was interesting, I think.
Private dick.
What? Grab a dick?
Private dick.
Private dick. Because his
Yeah.
dick is private. He keeps it
private dick's dick.
For some.
The private
for
dick's
some,
private
not
dick.
for others.
The private dick's dick.
Not
is
for
private.
Lauren Bacall. The private dick's dick is private. That's like a tongue twister. The private dick's dick is private.
Say that 5 times fast.
Private dick is private. Private dick's private dick. He's got a private dick, people. Can't say it can't be done. Fucking dick. That's it. But also, I think these movies
good
are like,
content right
yeah,
there.
you got it. That's upvote that shit. But anyway, I think these movies are asking you, what's the point where voyeurism becomes pathological and gross? Not with Marlowe. He's fine.
The point where you're.
Living with your mother, no.
The point where you're fucking sitting outside somebody's window.
Exactly. But I think there's kind of also saying like, well, if it's just curiosity, if you're just watching a fucking movie, that's okay. That's not pathological.
You do it once.
But if you
it's
only,
alright.
but if you like,
do it once a week,
yeah.
But what if you get paid privately to do that? Is that true voyeurism?
No, I mean it could. Well, here's the thing: it could be, but is voyeurism always bad? Is what I was kind of getting at. Is it always perverted voyeurism? Because it shows perverted voyeurism because you have Geiger, and what the shit he produces, and the kind of people who come into the shop. It may not be perverted by modern standards, but at the time you had to go in there and be waved in by the lozier lady who's a dumbass, and it was a seedy deal back then, you know. And it's like they do that in a lot of movies. Like Blow Up had that, which was kind of a neo-noir kind of deal. Like was a detective, but he wasn't really a detective, but he functioned as one. And also the Two Jakes, which another thing about the Two Jakes, there's this Harvey Keitel, the other Jake, which I think is Jake Berman. That Jake, played by Harvey Keitel. He has cancer of his penis. They don't tell you that right out, but you know that his wife's cheating on him, A. You know that Jake Gittes is researching him, and he finds out he's going to this doctor, which the doctor relates back to the first movie. That's irrelevant here, but he finds out that there's x-rays that it's something in his groin area is the cancer. They never say it's his penis, and they never say whether it was like removed or not, but I get the feeling that
dick cancer.
This guy, he's another guy who can only get pleasure vicariously because something's going on with his penis, you know, which, you know, just brings it all back to The Sun Also Rises by Ernest Hemingway, where the guy loses his penis in the war and is basically, what the fuck do I do with myself now? And he just gets hammered every day because he can't have sex.
Yeah, makes sense.
But, you know, but this
guy's butt play.
But this guy doesn't just watch his wife bang other people, which would be the way to go, like Breaking the Waves. Instead, he kills the guy who's sleeping with his wife. That's becoming pathological. You know, it's going over the line.
Yeah.
You don't kill people. It's not nice.
You can't fuck your wife. Your dick doesn't work.
It's still broken.
Just enjoy it. Just like
Do
look
what you can do.
at how much she's enjoying it.
And be happy for her. Be happy that she's happy.
I thought Vivian Rutledge
It's like
was
the most
sort of,
perfect cuckold
Vivian
situation,
Rutledge,
and
yes.
you're ruining it by being all murdery.
right.
Yeah. You're like, I'm an alpha. Oh, I don't do this.
I thought she sort of looked like your wife,
Who? Which one?
Lauren Bacall.
Lauren Bacall. I don't
when
see
she
it.
looks like
I don't see it.
Oh, wait a second. Wait, who's that?
I look-
Dude, I thought the
Vivian.
same fucking thing.
I think my wife is
but only
beautiful.
when she
I
looks
think
good?
Lauren Bacall is beautiful, but I don't know if they look
I
the
know,
same.
I thought the same thing. I thought that.
I think Laura McCall is beautiful, but I don't know if my wife is.
She's no Lauren Bacall. No, she's beautiful. She's a lovely, lovely woman.
No, totally, yeah. Like
But-
it's
see
like
the
something
some-
with the nose.
Oh, I'll have to.
Side
some
shot. The
angles.
sides.
When
the
I'm
smiley
here's the
side.
thing.
angles.
When I'm masturbating to pictures of Lauren Bacall, I'm not thinking about my wife. Okay? No, I'm just kidding.
You're not?
I mean, I am. Both. When I'm having sex with my wife, I'm thinking about Lauren Bacall. When I'm masturbating to pictures of Lauren Bacall, I'm thinking about my wife. Yeah.
I mean,
You know, I'm always one
when I'm
foot up.
masturbating to pictures of anybody else, I'm thinking about your wife.
I get confused when I
we all
masturbate to
do.
pictures of Lauren Bacall.
Why am I doing this? What has become of me? Come of me. That's not good. Like coming.
So wait, you're in the act of
Well, yeah.
masturbation and you have that thought and then you
Well,
stop.
since we've
Because
gone
it's no
there,
fun.
I find Lauren Bacall extremely attractive. Always have, and she's great in this movie. Actually, have not seen To Have or Have Not, which is the Howard Hawks picture before this picture, where he established that he liked the Humphrey Bogart Lauren Bacall pairing. They were married, and Truman Capote made a snide joke at Humphrey Bogart's expense. Because he said something like, "Oh, it's Humphrey Bogart," or should I say, Mr. Lauren Bacall? Because Truman was implying that she had him wrapped around her little finger.
Oh,
Humphrey
yeah.
Bogart.
Lauren Bacall can get the date.
She would have me wrapped around her little finger. She could finger me. That's what I'm saying.
Oh shit!
I didn't know it at first, but that's what I was saying. But yeah, great stuff. Howard Hawks, though, he's a great director. John Carpenter's favorite director.
Really?
You know, have you ever seen Rio Bravo?
No.
It's got one of the Rat Pack is in it. I can't remember which one. I mean, who's Dean? Dean Martin's in it. And like, it's a siege movie. People get trapped. Think of how many fucking Carpenter movies are siege movies. Assault on Precinct 13, Prince of Darkness, sort of arguably Halloween, because I mean they are in a house barricading themselves, trying to keep people out. Another great. Well, then you got. I mean, I always think of Hawks. I always get Hawks movies confused with Houston movies because they're both great, and there's Humphrey Bogart in both a lot of times. But yeah, Hawks is rad. And he did The Thing from Outer Space. But that was what we talked. We did an episode on that. We talked about how he didn't get the director credit, but a lot of people say he did direct that movie. He got a producer credit on it. But yeah, that was Hawks. And I have some Hawks suggestions on here that are good. So, Hawks.
Mice.
Go on. Oh,
voles,
Rio Bravo and The Thing. That
moles.
was it.
These are all suggestions from a hawk.
From a hawk.
Mice, voles, moles.
Yeah, but John Carpenter. He's compared to Hawks because of his siege movies and the ability to go from genre to genre. You know, Hawks did. Wait, what did Hawks? Yeah, Hawks did the Maltese Falcon, or no? That was Houston. I'm sorry. That would have been Houston.
So there were multiple.
I was hoping
sieges
somebody
of
would pick the Maltese Falcon.
That's a great movie.
I
dude.
almost did.
Yeah,
Actually,
so did I.
It also has Harry Jones, like the weird little guy that's dating Lozier at the end, and he dies, and he's like, oh, you don't care that he died, you know? The little guy who he, like, kind of establishes this quick bromance with, which, like, that's the thing with Marlowe. He's always making these little bromances.
Hey, what did you pick? What was your pick?
My pick was Stranger Than a Train.
Oh, okay.
That's a
was
good pick.
Hitchcock movie.
Have you ever seen Maltese Falcon?
No.
Me neither.
It's very good. It's kind of the originator of the idea of the MacGuffin. You guys know what the MacGuffin is? The MacGuffin is an object or an idea, usually an object that propels the plot but isn't in itself important. So they're all looking for the Maltese Falcon, but the Maltese Falcon
looking for the MacGuffin.
may not be important, and it may and it may not even be real. It may not be what they think it is. It may not be this like artifact that the legend or the provenance states that it is. But they're still all after it. It makes the plot move forward. It's the interactions between the people is what you really want to see, and you need the MacGuffin to get it moving. Just like in Pulp Fiction, where they have the thing in the golden aura thing in the briefcase. That's the MacGuffin. It's like it's making the entire plot happen, but we don't know what it is, and it doesn't even really matter. But yeah, that's the MacGuffin, which gets later talked about in noir movies. They actually start addressing the MacGuffin and saying it is a MacGuffin. I think Naked City was the one I'm thinking of, but pretty cool. But let me just name a couple John Huston films with Bogart that are really great. Maltese Falcon, of course, we just said. The Treasure of Sierra Madre, excellent movie. Key Largo is a great siege movie, not Hawks, but good siege movie. And the African Queen. Trump likes that one, The Treasure of Sierra Madre?
No, Key Largo.
Key Largo. Oh, because that's where this place is called? Is that what's this place called again? Trumpville. Mar-a-Lago. Oh, that's okay. Mar-a-Lago. Okay.
That might be a totally different island.
Yeah, probably. I imagine it is, but
there were definitely siege elements in this too, like where they're always going back to Giger's house there. And at first he was assaulting Giger, and then he defended it at the very end, you know, and got him entrapped, and there's like assaults from all sorts of different angles there.
Wait, what?
Sieges.
Lots of salt. That's what he said. There was like a salt flats.
Salty siege.
Yes.
Giger died in the beginning.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But they keep going back to his house because Eddie Mars owns the house. Right.
There was something I found weird in the other movie.
Yeah, Geiger. Yeah.
There was something I found weird in the other movie, the estate employees were there for like weeks after the guy died.
What?
In the other movie.
Okay.
What was the other movie?
Nocturne,
yeah. Like the houseboy and the maid, they were there for like
after their
they were there for like weeks after the guy died, like working.
Right.
Weird.
It's just a very strange.
Hey, did anybody else think? Well, there was definitely something up with the Carmen Sternwood.
San Diego.
But yeah.
Where in the
world is Carmen Sternwood probably blowing some guy? But yeah, she was like borderline personality disorder or something. She like sucked her thumb, which was
kind of weird. She was a little weird.
Yeah, she was weird, and then she like had to remind herself not to suck her thumb. Like
she only did that once.
I think it's maybe Arrested Development for sure.
Yeah, because they're saying you're cute.
Right. She's like, oh, you're cute. And it's weird. It's like very trivial, but in the book she says you're tall, and he says I don't try to be. But in the movie she says you're not that tall, and he says I try to be, because the character in the book is tall. Humphrey Bogart's not tall.
Oh, clever.
They just switched it up to accommodate Humphrey Bogart, who's like, you know, I like his Marlowe. It's a good Marlowe. There's a lot of Marlowes out there, you know. There's the Marlowe from Murder My Sweet, which is like this very nerdy, kind of almost Victorian, but not British Marlowe, which I don't like. Marlowe's got to be rough. I mean, a little rough. Definitely sort of sardonic. I like some sarcasm from my Marlowe's. If you ever see a great neo-noir is Robert Altman's The Long Goodbye, which is the last, I consider it the last novel by Raymond Chandler, because Playback is considered to be an inferior novel that he wrote while he was mostly wasted, because most of his career he had stopped drinking because he had a really bad alcohol problem before he became a writer and would constantly cheat on his wife, who was oddly like 30 years older than him. Like, so yeah, so then by this time, so he shits out Playback basically, and then doesn't finish Poodle Springs, but it does get published
Poodle Springs?
posthumously. Poodle Springs was his last book that wasn't finished.
It's a weird name.
It is a weird.
It's about jumping dogs.
It's about jumping dogs. It's just like the fucking
It's not Poodle
the
Springs.
nefarious
Poodle Springs.
evil center of the dog show world. It's like it's essentially Best in Show with a detective.
But with a dark twist.
With a dark twist. That had a pretty dark
Weird
twist.
voyeurism.
Yeah, weird voyeurism. Him looking at dogs. Like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You want to breed with a
Oh,
poodle?
look at that.
You ever?
Look at that
Love
shepherd.
Chinese
Oh.
crusteds.
Absolutely. But this movie, because I mentioned Robert Altman, this movie has awesome naturalistic dialogue that I don't ever see in this era. Because they do the thing where they have people talking over each other a little bit, which you don't see in movies because everything's very deliberate. Because it's a movie, because you have to move the plot forward. Everything's supposed to move the plot forward. When you have people talking over one another in the movie, that seems weird, but it also seems very natural, and they did that a little bit here. And I think maybe Robert Altman, I know, was a fan of Howard Hawks, who wasn't. So maybe he picked that up from him, because the last guy I said,
Altman?
Robert Altman, yeah, his movies, he does this thing where he has people's conversations both going on at the same time.
I'm sorry, there's a silence because I just rolled 4
6, 6,
D20s and got 11, 12, 13, 14.
You're magical.
11, 12, 13. Magic! Chaos magic.
Yeah.
It's chaos magic.
So many D20s.
That means something smart's about to happen.
Yeah.
What do you get now? Significant?
2, 13, 14, 19.
Oh, Jesus
That's
Christ.
also significant.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Indeed.
I agree. Depends on what kind of skill we're rolling for. I mean,
Right.
Gotta roll for those
if it was
skills.
deception, it would be like, that's what's up.
Accept yourself. Accept yourself.
Because I'm so deceptive.
You're like a what do you call them?
Rogue?
A rogue. Sure.
Private
I was gonna say
detective.
more like those ninjas.
Private dick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Private dick. This is everyone. Even back then, every time they said that, they had to be like in their head, like, private dick. Nice, dick.
You're a
You're a real
private. You're a P dick.
And he's like, I sure am.
Well, what was up with calling? What was up with?
I need a tail job.
On your, I got this dick's gonna give me a tail job.
So, well, okay, calling Richard Dick. People name.
Yeah, what the
Richard
fuck
Dick.
is that?
People don't really.
It's
do
like
that
Henry
anymore.
and Hank. It doesn't make any
Oh
sense.
no, dude! There's a dude who's like in our club.
but you have to
like,
choose
People
it,
call him
yeah.
Dick. You choose. You
I would
call him
choose
Dick
that.
or you call him Rick.
Yeah, you call me Dick, you call me Rick, but don't call me late for dinner.
What do you call him, Rich?
No.
Well, I'm saying in general, Rich.
No, you call him Dick or you call him Rick.
There's so
No,
many
Rick
ones.
isn't
There's
short for
so
Richard,
many
though.
nicknames for Richard.
Yeah, it is.
Like hard.
Rich is. Rick
Yeah.
is.
Yo,
Rich.
hard.
Rick. Richard? Yeah.
What else would
Rick.
Rick be short for? Rickles? Rickled? Rickinson?
Rickard.
Patrick?
Yeah, Rickard.
Nobody calls Patrick Rick. Call him Pat. Call me Pat.
Sorry, Pat.
Pitch. We'll call him Pitch.
Pit.
That's like
Someone-
a combination of Pat and
Yeah,
Dick.
okay.
Pitch.
I guess you're right. I don't know. I never made
Pick.
that connection.
Okay.
Pick Corgan.
Pick your
Corgan.
Corgan. Pick your Corgan
Because I'm a
wisely.
dick.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Sure.
So yeah, great naturalist dialogue. People talking over each other. I love that shit. Makes me hard in my butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love how
My
the
butt gets
conversations
hard all the
overlap.
time.
What's cool about that is it's naturalistic, but if you have the conversations all relevant to the plot and all reflecting each other, it furthers the central conceit
When
of
does
the
that happen?
film. It happens like in very brief, quick moments. You'll have one person saying something over here, Humphrey Bogart is saying, and then it'll split off and focus on one of the conversations. Robert Altman doesn't do that though. He just plays out both conversations at the same time, but they're both usually relevant to the plot, and you have to choose which one you're going to listen to.
Oh, nice.
Which is fucking smart. He overdoes it sometimes though, and sometimes the background conversation will be irrelevant, and you're like, okay,
So you picked the wrong one.
you picked the wrong one. You're following. You're like,
What's going on now?
when is
God
the
damn it.
cheeseburger's gonna show up? You just ordered them fucking 45 minutes ago. Yeah, something like that. It could happen.
When he was shut down by the DA, I think there was some of that
I
going on.
I stayed in Rochester
Word.
last night, and we ordered
Dick.
like dinosaur barbecue through Grubhub.
Ooh, smart.
Wait,
Yeah.
How
they
expensive
got
is
dinosaur
Grubhub?
barbecue?
They had a version of it
There's
in
dinosaur
Florida. It's
barbecue in
so
Rochester,
expensive
yeah.
though.
What?
They had a version of Grubhub. It wasn't Grubhub. It was pre-Grubhub. It was pre-Uber. It was pre all that. But they had this thing in Florida where they would go pick up food from anywhere for you, but it was so expensive.
Yeah, no. it's
Grubhub
just
is
like-
not though,
it's-
right?
Yeah, no.
It's great.
It's like $5 bucks.
like-
I
Yeah,
think.
it's the perfect
Right,
world
it's
for
like-
people like me.
it's like, this
Instacart,
is the cost
Grubhub,
of the
I don't
food.
want to leave my house.
Tip your driver. You should give
Right.
them $5 at least.
Even though it probably gives them a tip automatically though, right?
Well, no, they make money.
No.
They're making money. doing
Instacart, it does.
They-
And then we
they're-
tip them
They're
anyway.
being paid an hourly salary, which is less than minimum wage.
Right,
But,
that's how tipping works, yeah.
but
it. Wait, how do you know it's less than minimum
So now
wage?
Reservoir Dogs. Okay, never mind.
because it's like a server. They're like servers in a restaurant.
It's the
They
service
get paid.
industry, right? Isn't that how that works?
That's
They get
why
paid
we don't
hourly.
make rate. Because we're construction
The only
services.
service people who don't make money generally like
People
that.
always ask me, they're like, "Hey, it's great making rated," and I'm like, "Yeah, I bet it
I mean, like
is.
cook
Fuck you,
and
man."
service. I don't get paid under minimum.
Right. So you get paid minimum, and then like you get tipped out from like the community tip thing.
Yeah, maybe. Alright.
Yeah. When I worked at Hole in the Wall, more like Hole in a Butt. Anyway, yeah, they had this thing where like we worked for minimum wage. Like, I'm getting salty here, but yeah, but then like everybody gets tipped out. But if you don't make minimum wage before the tips, they'll bump it up to minimum wage for you. But ultimately, nobody goes in there, so everybody just seems to get minimum wage. It's a
That's
trap.
weird because
it's a
they
trap.
have such good pesto and stuff.
No, it's
They-
good.
they
I mean,
do have good pesto,
I don't know
but
if
it's
that's how it
like-
worked for everybody.
God, that's
but-
so fucking expensive. This is like $20 for like a fucking like half-ounce container of
It is.
pesto. You're just
Right.
like,
It's needlessly
no.
expensive.
I'm
Plus,
I'm not gonna pay that.
Right.
This is This
Go
is
to
really,
Wegmans.
This is really good, but
go to
for-
Wegmans.
what's
Go
for
to the
trendy
fucking
dumb.
go to the Olive Bar, the Greek bar. Is it called the Olive Bar or the Greek bar? I don't know. But they have just a big pile
Like
of
Olive
great
Garden?
pesto. No, in Wegmans.
Oh.
And you just scoop it up and put it in a cup. It's nice. It's cheap. You know, that's good pesto.
Wegmans is nice.
It's plenty
You
fine.
could just drink it right there.
And I'm not all that crazy.
fucking chug it.
Just stick your
Pesto's
face
pretty
in there.
great.
It's
Or,
chill.
I would like to be inside
Lick it
of
and
a
put it
pesto,
back.
like in Gremlins 2, and pop out of the buffet and scare somebody. I just watched Gremlins and Gremlins 2. I watched Gremlins last night. Watched Gremlins 2 today.
Oh.
I love both those movies. They're great. I mean, they're entertaining for sure. What's fun about those movies is the first one's written by Chris Columbus. It's very smart.
Christopher Columbus wrote.
Yeah. The first thing he did when he got to the New World is he like killed a few Indians, and then he made Gremlins and Gremlins 2. But no, in Gremlins 2 he had nothing to do
Genius.
with it. Joe Dante, who directed Gremlins, both wrote and directed Gremlins 2. That's why it's so fucking crazy. Because Joe Dante is like a slapstick guy, you know. So he made it all like self-referencing. There's the scene with the Hulk in the middle where the movie stops and he's in the theater and he's like, "Hey, start Gremlins 2 again, or I'm the Hulkamania." I don't know what he does. He lets out the Hulk. He drops his bomb on it. I don't fucking know, but he's in there. It's all very like meta shit. It's cheeky fun. Speaking of cheeky fun,
like Hulk Hogan
never mind.
Or Bruce Banner.
or Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner. Bruce-a-mania. Okay, so before we move on from The Big Sleep, I just want to look at some individual scenes that I thought were really bitchin' hardcore. Let's see. The first one is like, I really liked the cheeky singing scene where Lauren Bacall sings "And Her Tears Flowed Like Wine." And there were rumors that some singer called Andy Williams dubbed Bacall singing. That's not true. It was Bacall's voice.
Really?
Really?
Because I read a couple things that said that, it was a dub.
It's not.
Ooh.
It's not. That's a rumor.
Spicy.
This is from the general trivia on the Amazon, which I trust with all my heart. I mean, it could be false, but, that's what it said. It said that there was a rumor that this Andy Williams did it, but that's untrue, and it was Bacall's voice.
Imagine someone, so is that like user-generated like trivia?
I don't know how that happens.
Like someone could just like...
I was just thinking they hire like 5 guys to like research shit and come up with something. I mean, probably like 500 guys, but like...
It's funny if it was like just someone's like, their like thing they do is just make fake trivia.
That's I love things like that. I love the idea of like deliberate disinformation. There's a little bit of that in Fight Club, like you can use your old motor oil to fertilize your lawn. They'd put up signs like that. Like I love the idea of doing that, and like fake Craigslist ads and stuff.
Tide Pods getting
anarchy,
high.
man, anarchy.
Yeah. So Agnes
anarchy.
Logier was the bookshop.
She was the
proprietress.
the dirty bookshop. He went in there and told her about the books that didn't exist, and she didn't know that. And then he went over there to the nerdy lady and was like, hey, he had like a weird intellectual moment. Because Marlowe, they do state in this movie, he is a college graduate, which is not as common as it is now in this time period. So we're supposed to, having heard that, we're supposed to imagine that Marlowe is smarter than everyone else that he's talking to at that time. Where now is going to college, you can assume that that person is maybe dumber than most people you will talk to. It was not like that then.
Which would explain his awkwardness with women.
Right. He's an academic. Then he was a cop, or no, he worked for the DA. I guess he was a cop. And then he got fired for insubordination. He rates really high on insubordination, which of course he's an anti-authority. That's his thing. He's an individualist, right?
And he doesn't get in trouble for fucking around with people.
Right. It was interesting though. This was during World War II.
Yeah.
So there were all these restrictions, and he had a special card, he had a special registration on his vehicle that said he could get more gas than other people. Because they were rationing gas. Like, people, when you went to go get gas, like, you couldn't get it over a certain amount. Which is weird. It's just like, because can't they just keep coming back and refill?
Right.
I just come back 5 minutes later, or then maybe they'd be like, no, you're here. So
right, it's not like they had digital records of those.
Right. But, I mean, I'm sure it was maybe partially the honor system, but...
And I had a question on my notes. It's like, how come everybody just has, like, their name and where they live and shit on all their cars? It's because of that fact, obviously.
Right,
Like, when he was, like,
rationing.
breaking into people's cars.
They were rationing other things, like food then, and it's just, like, that's what was going on. You don't think that was happening in America. I think of more like England, World War II, who was actually being bombed. But no, it was happening in America, too, for sure. And he had... Yeah. And they talk about something else, like red stamps or something that's like a reference to things they use. Like you had to bring in some kind of form of stamp to get a certain amount of food for yourself. Because they're rationing for the war, because we need extra, we need to send the goods to the war first. And yeah. And the other scene I want to talk about is the car scene. The car scene is different than in the book. Like, how they get all cheeky. I don't remember how it's different. I wrote a paper on it at one point, but there's very different scenes.
When he picked up Vivian?
When he picks up Vivian, and then he keeps saying, like, what does Eddie Mars have on you? He's like, kissing is good, but what does Eddie Mars got on you? And, like, then eventually they end up making out. In the book, obviously, he doesn't quite go like that. I think there is, like, a moment where they, like, kiss, but then he backs off, and it's just, like, straight up, like, no, what the fuck does Eddie Mars have on you? Like, no fucky until I find out, which in the movie was a little different. Mm-hmm. He was like, well, fucky, sure, but I also would like to know.
Like why he's robbing you right outside of his casino.
Right. Which some of the plot gets convoluted. Obviously, there's the whole Owen Taylor thing, and, like, when they called Raymond Chandler during the writing of this and said, like, who killed Owen Taylor? And he said, I do not know. Like, it was some of the things get mixed up.
I just thought of something. So in this whole thing, because he's like, oh, you guys set this up, so then that the guy would rob the money from you just to make it look like there's nothing going on between them.
Right.
But the thing is that was on a blackjack table.
Right.
How would you fucking set that up?
I don't know. I don't remember the details enough to really say.
But Mars, it must have been a crooked gambling establishment.
Yeah, I think.
No, everyone was there. They were watching. She had 14,000, and she bet that all on the table
and then he took it. Oh, I remember why that was. Because he takes her money because he's been loaning her money this whole time. So this
he gave her no. She won that money. She won the money, and then the whole thing is because she wins the money. Then she goes in the parking lot. And then the guy robs her, tries to rob her, and then he stops her from robbing her. Then when they're driving away in the car, he's like, "Oh, you guys set that up because you're just trying to. This is a clever ploy because you want me to think that there's nothing going on between you, but I know there's something going on between you."
Okay.
And she wouldn't show him the money.
Yeah, she wouldn't show him the money, but like, how could they have set the blackjack table up? How could they have made it
so she got the correct cards and won?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They did not have that technology.
Wait, not blackjack. It was the spinny thing.
Oh, roulette. Well, that'd be much harder.
That's
you
what I
couldn't
mean.
just slip her the cards.
Yeah.
You'd have to make the table, which they did do that in certain. I mean, there's like a little thing under the table you can stop it at certain points, but you still can't predict where the ball is going to land. Even then, I mean, you could use magnets for sure.
Isn't that a thing? Doesn't there like some magnets?
How do they work?
I don't know.
How do magnets work?
Nobody knows. It's a miracle. It's a fucking miracle, man. Ask God.
Ask SCP.
Yeah, they are God.
That's what I meant.
ICP is God. It's a trick question.
Trick question.
Acid God?
Acid God. It's a name for a doom band. Acid
is a
God, of
great
course. I mean, you got Acid Witch. You got like other acid names. And
I got tons of acid names.
I'm all acid names. I'm oozing acid names from my pores. Yeah. Well, we didn't mention. I mean, I was trying to mention as many other Humphrey Bogart films as I could, but Casablanca we didn't mention.
That's a great movie.
I always loved Casablanca as a kid.
Me too.
Pop it in. I just thought, well, movies were like, oh, it's black and white, it's gonna suck, and I was just like totally like mind blown. Like,
Me
that
too.
was fucking awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Which was like Martiz directed it or something. When I looked up stuff he directed, I recognized nothing else. He's no Hawks or, just one of those movies like Lightning in a Bottle. It's a great movie. Hawks is awesome. He just played, not Hawks, I mean Bogart is awesome. He just plays a great hard ass. I mean, he can only really play a hard ass, so it's kind of weird that I'm commending his ability to play one type of role, but he just does it so well.
Yep.
Yeah.
You might as well have the one-dimensional roles for that role.
He's
Or
Bogart.
one-dimensional people, rather.
Yeah. He plays Sam Spade in Maltese Falcon, which is like a proto Philip Marlowe. I mean, Sam Spade is just like a fatalistic hard ass, and Philip Marlowe is like a fatalistic hard ass with a slight romantic streak. That's kind of the deal. And Raymond Chandler, when he was started writing for the pulps, he like him and Dashiell Hammett, who wrote The Maltese Falcon, were both writing for the pulp at the same time, and he wrote this essay called The Simple Art of Murder, which is basically just praising Dashiell Hammett for having realism in his work. Like, it wasn't about the mystery, it was about the like blood and the killing and like the chaos. Like, this movie was chaos. Like, basically just the chaos that emits from having multiple people who all want different things. Everyone's trying to get something over on somebody else. It's really the people's desires that
It's motive-based.
creates this like controlled filmed chaos. Yeah, it's very motive based. Like, it's not just like, just like one person
Good
wants
versus
good versus
evil.
evil. Not at all. It's nothing like that. It's just like the chaos that comes from people's desires. Like, super cool. But, I mean, maybe we should talk a little bit about Nocturne now.
Yar.
Nocturne.
I mean, what kind of guy has all his like hookups pictures on the wall?
That guy was a dick. That was the whole,
Yeah,
I mean, that was a thing.
he was a grotesque
Obviously.
fucking manlet.
He was a dickhole, and you got that immediately when the movie started.
Yeah.
And he's playing that song. You're my
Like,
Nocturne.
hey, I liked you, but you're done. You're gone.
Yeah, it's all content.
Look at
When
all
the
these
song-
women.
when the
Look at all
song-
these women that I'm fucking or I fucked.
Yeah.
What do I need you for?
Yeah.
When the song is
done.
over, we're over.
Dolores.
Oh, shit. Yeah. And with her, she was almost kind of like, she was like this pure character. It's like hard to imagine like doing that to her. And the sister would take the fall, and like that, it was all orchestrated by that other piano player who was
Fingers.
Who was a sap, dude. Because like, I mean, yeah, your wife fucked another guy. Get over it. But like, I don't know. But basically, so he said he was up there, and he didn't decide. He just didn't decide to kill him until what? Until he saw what Dickie was, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was like, if he was gonna marry her, then that's okay. But if she's just another chick for your wall, then you're dead. Like, I'm not gonna let that happen to the woman I love.
Right,
which is commendable in a way.
Right, I think they were married, and she started seeing him, and he was like, "I'm gonna show you what kind." Fingers was like, "I'm gonna show you what kind of dude Vincent is."
Right. That was the point of going up there with her, for sure. But then, obviously, he got really mad when he saw what type of a dude he was. So,
Look at all these women on his wall.
Now, it seems sort of convoluted how you went about all that. I could see how covering your tracks using... Spoiler alert, he used a blank to fake a suicide.
Right, yeah. Yeah, to fake the suicide, they used the blanks so they could get the powder on his hand. And clearly, Fingers had been thinking about that for a long time, as Joe Warren says, because he had the plan, or he'd been keeping in his back pocket for if he happened to kill somebody or something. But he had the gun, he had the blanks, he had it all with him. And when he was negotiating at the end, trying to make himself sound like a good guy, which, in a sense, he's not that bad. He's just in a bad position. And there's a bad guy, and he happened to kill him. But also, the damning thing is that he brought the gun and the blanks, so he was ready for something.
It was premeditated.
It was obviously premeditated.
And who the fuck admits that to a cop?
Yeah, that's weird. That whole
the whole admitting thing is fucking weird.
But it's such a classic noir trope. Like, they can't let things be ambiguous, even though they are.
Even though the sexual side of it is super ambiguous.
Right. There's definitely undertones in this movie, but not with the actual plot. They just give you the plot. And well, that's another thing about noir. It's like it's not like a Sherlock Holmes thing. It's not like we're finding clues and there's a little bit of that. It's not a whodunit. It's like gradually we just told who did it.
It's like we just gotta prove it.
Yeah. Yeah, gradually we're told who did it.
We just gotta find.
Like, but for instance, when I saw the young woman, the sister who wasn't, wait, was her name Susan? Or there's Carol and Susan, right? I don't remember which was which.
Or no, Frances is the other one.
Kid sister.
What's the kid sister's name? Frances.
Carol.
Carol. So there's Frances and Carol. Yeah. So I don't remember what I was gonna say now, but Carol.
She's the nightclub singer. Definitely. She's plugged in.
Yeah, but she also seems like she wouldn't. I mean, it's hard to imagine her like being unfaithful. But I mean, why is it hard to imagine? Because she's blonde and like kind of cutesy and kind of dumb, maybe.
And I mean, these were apparently pianos were like the highest. Quality instrument you could own back in the day. Like that bar owner when during the fight scene.
Yeah,
$1,100. That's $15,000.
But why did Joe Warren even do that? He was just heated. Yeah, and he ripped it apart.
Right.
It's like a fucking destroy your player piano.
Like, it's like a Marlowe thing. Like, it's why I think they based this on like Chandler a little bit, because Marlowe's known to lose it on occasion.
Right.
Which this character was so subdued, like I just didn't think he would do something like that.
Right. It almost subdued. It makes you want to think he's calculating, but I don't think he's as
pluck
calculating.
His one at a time notes. Remember this? No. What?
Let me have my mother play that for you.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There's such a contrast between the fucking... What's the dude's name again? Not Fingers, the other piano player is a total... Vincent. There's a contrast between Vincent with all the pictures of the women on his wall and the detective, played by George Raft, Joe Warren, who lives with his mother and gets zero tail. And it's almost like they're pushing that. They're like saying, like, okay, here's a guy who always gets laid and then he gets shot. And then you have the detective, who has, like, seen a pussy, like, twice in his life.
Once being his mom.
Once was his mother's. Yeah, one of them being his
dead body.
Yeah. He's just so not a sexual person. But, of course, him and Carol have this sort of underlying chemistry that he's mostly exploiting for information, because he thinks she's the killer, but also he wants to give in a little bit. He wants to lose his cherry,
He wants
get
Francis'
rid of that
sweet,
V card.
sweet ass.
which is a lot like the Wicker Man. You get that. We get that cherry cop. You know, you guys seen the Wicker Man? The cop's an ex-priest, so the idea is that they want to sacrifice a virgin. So they figure out somehow that this cop is an ex-priest and therefore a virgin. So they make a false missing person statement, so the cop will come to the island and they can burn him in the Wicker Man after fucking with his head for about a week. That's the plot of the Wicker Man. It's a great movie.
Surprise, he's not a virgin.
Surprise! He's like
Rising up
surprise!
again.
Fuck many priests and nuns, but yeah,
Your
not that it
time
matters
will
because it's not going to
come.
affect the crops anyway. These pagan idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of pagan idiots, Jeff and I saw Midsummer.
Ooh, that was very weird.
It was very weird, very enjoyable,
Mm-hmm.
but very folk horror, very pagan. They go to Sweden, and there's like a sort of pagan. I don't know what you call that. The people who worship Odin.
Some century festival.
Yeah, they have some century festival, and shit gets real creepy real fast. But yeah, it's a lot like Wicker Man though. It's like it's the modern Wicker Man, really, and it's good. It's definitely good.
It's got
Ari Aster.
nice tropes all wrapped up into it. You know.
There's a lot of good stuff like that. You got Mandy, you got Hereditary, which was also Ari Aster from the director Midsummer. Anyway, that's just on the side. So back to Nocturne. So you got a guy who's just lives with his mom and has a weird relationship with his mother. I feel like it's just they're too close.
Yeah.
Close.
They're
tight.
They're really tight, but she's spry though. She's like going out, playing cards with her friends. He's not there to take care of her.
Let me show you how this murder works.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's this gun.
Right. Did she? I don't remember
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
but
she was the one.
She figured it out, right?
Yeah.
The blanks.
Yep.
It's like it was just blanks. Which don't shoot a fucking blank
Well,
in
they're
someone's
just
face.
blanks,
That's not
right?
safe, dude. Because there is a small explosion that occurs, so you should not do that. And he's sitting there with the shit on his face. I mean, she didn't really figure it out. She kind of just set up the situation where he could figure it out really quickly.
Right. And which is weird. Like at the time, apparently those scenes were in there for like comedic relief.
Right.
Which is
Same with Big
obviously,
Sleep.
but now. Ooh, excuse
That's
me.
cool. It's possessed.
But like in modern day times, like that's like an actual like plot driving point. You know. Mm-hmm. You know, it's
it was
like it's
that,
actually her who tipped him off. You know,
Right.
rather than him figuring out himself from like a
Kind of weird.
hero point of view.
That these movies have to have this they have to have these banter moments, like with Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart and Big Sleep, like the phone thing where they kept passing it back and forth.
Right.
Like it's so like superfluous. Like you don't need that scene. It kind of establishes their relationship a little bit, but I don't know.
Right, like for me, the
It
things
almost
that
feels
was
unnecessary to me, but
right.
it's opinion.
I like
The
it.
things that
Yeah.
that sort of like that was like for them back in that day. That was sort of like the fun, humorous stuff. I thought more humorous was like the banter and shit. They're like, "Oh, honey, I'm gonna go emote." You know,
Who said
and Frances when Joe accosted her on stage,
Right.
right before her,
okay.
she was "Go away, honey,
really
I'm gonna emote." You know, and when he's waiting for Frances in her apartment after he pushes that weird dude into the pool. He was like,
Torp? Was it
Yeah,
Torp?
no,
Torp.
just the random pool boy.
Oh yeah. Oh, I
he was
forgot
like,
about that.
Oh, that's the hardest block I've ever seen. I was like,
Yeah.
that's where cock block comes from. Like, really? It's nice to see. That's what I
Blocked your
fucking-
cock.
Yeah.
Should be guiding his cock. But yeah, there's this. I mean, it's weird because this character feels old to me. Older than Humphrey Bogart. It seems like he's trying to be that character, but he just doesn't quite make it. Like he seems old. Is my main problem. He seems kind of old and like frail and useless. I mean, you know, it's cool that he's like going after a crime that like nobody wants him to go after. It's a lot like a lot of detective things, like True Detective, for instance, where they're like pursuing this crime that like there's always the boss man coming down on you, like, you're giving me shit, the DA's coming down on my ass, I gotta come down on your ass, and everybody's ass is gonna get cummed on. Like, it's like that. And, yeah, it's the same type of deal with this guy. He's going after a case that he's not supposed to be going after. He keeps losing allies. He punched that one guy in the face who was supposed to be one of his cop buddies, which was like, he wasn't really in his way. It's not like it solved anything. He just got...
down. Yeah,
He's like, well, I'm bringing you down. He could have just been like, no, and then not went. I'm like, no, fuck you, I'm not going.
What is he gonna? Well, I guess.
But he's a hard ass. We're supposed to get that. I'm just my point
he
again.
was not.
I just don't buy George Raft is that much. I mean, I guess see more movies with him. Maybe he's known to be a hard ass. But I just wasn't feeling it.
I feel that too. And on a side note, apparently, he was always played as a hard ass in all of his other movies. This was his first like softy good guy role, and he hung out apparently with gangsters from Hell Kitchen in New York City, like for real.
For real, he's from Hell's Kitchen, yeah. Okay,
which I thought was very strange.
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe he's trying to play it soft here.
Right.
You know.
He wanted to be typecast differently, but I don't understand. You got a good role. Why not?
So
why not
fit
your
did he usually
persona?
play villains? Is that the
Yeah,
idea?
yeah. He usually played
okay.
like
George Raft
thugs
is a
and
thug
gangsters.
and ass villain.
Gangsta.
Gangsta. Okay, cool. So, and what about that one chick? What was the one girl's name who was like his maid?
Right.
Who hated his music?
It was fucking weird because
Her character is weird.
Any fucking relevance to
Not
anything.
really. She was there and she gets beat up because she knows what happened, essentially.
She was just like,
which is another reason not to like
sassy,
fingers.
Just like meh.
Right. Same with the
She was a
boxing.
bitch.
The
That was her
boxing.
thing.
The boxing ass. Not pool boy, but the house cleaner man. The errand getter.
Oh yeah.
Boy.
The house boy.
Which has got to be weird to be the maid and the houseboy of this guy who's just constantly banging. It's just awkward, kind of just like, can you go away?
No, he called them all Dolores.
Right.
Yeah, he was so creepy
They all
about
look
it.
so similar.
It's like a Ted Bundy thing. He probably had some like original girl who had the hots for and she dumped him, and ever since then he's like, well, I'm just gonna bang every girl and make them miserable and call him Dolores until I meet Dolores again and I'll kill her. Yeah, that's exactly Ted Bundy's story. Except there was more like necrophilia with Ted Bundy, but this guy's a dick. That's all I'm saying. And his music was stupid, and then I didn't like the way he was singing it. He was singing it, kind of trying to come up with the lyrics as he went. He's like, "You're my Nocturne." It's like, yeah, we get it. The song's called Nocturne.
Stick to your piano composing.
Yeah,
composing.
stop singing. Get fingers in here. He's more jaunty and fun. And it's better to have a lady singer. Which maybe the guy wasn't a singer piano player. Maybe he was a piano player and he would have singers or something. But whatever.
He's no like Elton John.
You're my Nocturne. So he always get a painting. And what happened with the painting? Because like he had the painting of Francis.
Picture.
Right.
And then it got taken. And
Right.
by Carol?
Francis took her own
picture,
painting, right?
And then, but then there's the thing where there was a picture of Carol. Like there was like they were trying to trick him or something. That Carol's picture was up on the wall and not Francis to kind of put the heat on Carol. And Carol went in for this. Like what?
I believe that's how
Carol went in for this because
she was in love with him.
You're right. No.
Or tried to, was fallen.
Francis is Francis the blonde who's in love with fingers?
No, Francis is the one.
I'm mixing them up. Carol's the one who loves fingers.
Right.
Or, who was married to Fingers.
Right.
But loves Vincent now.
She loves fingers.
She loves Fingers.
She obviously
loves
loves the fingers.
Everybody loves the Fingers. But right, okay, so I mixed them up. So it's Carol that did that. Okay.
Francis is the one Joe gets
so
off.
Carol
with
went
at
to
the
go
end.
get her picture then. Because she's the blonde, right?
Right.
So she's the one who had the picture on the wall. Was she the one who fucked Vincent? Or did they both?
Yes.
Did they both fuck Vincent?
The other one, yeah, they both fucked.
Okay.
Him, and she went and she took the other one's photo. Off the wall.
Carol went and took Francis's photo off the wall.
I think that's sort of unclear.
Well, the photo that's seen when he goes to get the photo from the actual photo guy is the photo of Francis,
Right.
the dark-haired sister. Mm-hmm. But the woman who was there that night was Carol.
Carol.
Because
They're both there.
they were all there. Fingers, Carol, and Francis. But Francis is trying to protect Carol by putting the heat onto herself so much because she thinks that Carol shot Vincent, which is not true. It was Fingers. And Fingers knew that, and he played that. Fingers,
Fingers.
because he plays piano.
Yeah, he's the
It's
other
not
piano
what you
player.
think, Andy. It's maybe
Yeah,
it
dude.
is. I don't
Dude,
know.
his
Got
pussy
fast
job is
fingers.
fucking so good.
It could be both. You know, honestly, it could be both reasons.
Could be reasonably, yeah.
Like, call me Fingers. Why? Because you play piano? Not so much. Yeah, man, let's say it's the piano. Yeah.
Definitely, some of the plot elements were a little forced on this. It's just like Carol in that bar, the honky tonk bar. No, it's not honky tonk. That just happens to have some big guy named Torp as the bouncer,
Right.
and he doesn't play into any of this. He's actually just like, sideways of all of this. You know, he has nothing to do with anything. He's just trying to protect Carol, I guess.
Yeah.
It was very unclear.
Wait, hold on a second. Francis. Okay. Yeah, Francis was the dark-haired one.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm correct now. I have it.
Yeah.
Francis, the dark-haired sister who didn't,
Carol is sort
who wasn't
of
married to,
singer.
not married to Finger. Okay, and that's Fran. And Carol's the ditzy singer. Okay, now I've got it. Okay, good.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Hi.
Carol.
Hi. Hi.
I thought Carol was a pretty good singer, actually.
Yeah.
But Francis was far sexier, of course.
Oh yeah.
She was a,
I mean,
she was a
and
femme fatale character.
Yeah.
She was one of those.
She was like, "Oh,
she-
I didn't do it."
She seemed like she really
But
wanted
I
to.
could've.
She maybe wanted to bang on what's his face.
Yeah, they kissed.
Joe.
They kissed a few times, right? But it wasn't clear because with the femme fatale, it's never clear. You know, it's never clear if she's doing it for her own benefit to protect her sister, or because she's wet. You don't know.
Well, Joe ran off with her at the end of the movie. They're like,
yeah.
"How, baby?"
Okay,
Baby.
So he introduced her to Mom. He was like, "Mom, it might get noisy
Right.
tonight over in my bedroom with my model airplanes hanging from the ceiling and my baseball cards lining the back of the board of the bed." Dude, come on, man. Move out of your fucking mom's house. You're 50-something.
Right. I mean, I know this is
more his mom
well-
probably lived in his house, maybe, but I don't know.
But it was his mom's house.
I just focus on that because I feel like the movie was focused on that. Because you got Vincent, who lives alone with a manservant and a maid, and he plays the piano and is a total just I don't know what you call that. A
He
cad?
calls his
He's a
fuck
cad.
puppets the same person.
Yeah, he's a cat. They're not real to him. It's like that movie.
Call them all
Not Hustle and Flow. Not Paid in Full. It's like it's one of those gangsta movies. It's a sequel to one of them. I don't know, there's a guy who just names all the girls he fucks after days of the week, basically. Which was, yeah. So the girl he fucked on Wednesday, he'd call her and be like, "Yo, Wednesday, get over here. I'm gonna fuck you." Like, and then Tuesday and Friday, you know, girls just
That
called
almost
them,
sounds
called them the day of the week in which he fucked them.
That almost
Same
sounds
kinda
like
deal.
The Sopranos. That might have been The Sopranos.
That wasn't The
No.
Sopranos. Did
I feel
Tony
like there's
Tony
different-
did bang everybody. In the
Yeah.
Sopranos. I mean, that's neo-noir.
Mhm.
I mean,
No.
a gangster picture is not necessarily neo-noir, but it has to have an element of fatalism and philosophy to a certain dark philosophy, and also a B-picture aesthetic to it too. I kind of need
Right,
that.
which is something absolutely The Sopranos did not have.
No.
That was
that
not
was
a
very
B
highbrow.
movie.
It was kind of highbrow, more mid to highbrow. Thinking of where the brow's laying, but where to lay the brow?
You could have, you know.
You could have had your brows anywhere at that in that show. But I liked it. I think I've forgotten nearly everything about it.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time. Sopranos, Deadwood,
Deadwood.
the early series shows that proved that that's the best format for entertainment for sure.
For a story.
For a story, for storytelling.
Yeah.
Film is still its own thing. It's about the image, but storytelling wise, I love one of these modern sort of.
Yeah.
What do you call them? I mean, other than shows, is there like a specific name?
Series?
TV dramas, series dramas.
Show
I think
episode.
it's
be a
series
drama.
dramas.
It's show
people
episode.
say. Show
Well, it's not a
episodes.
drama.
If it's not a drama,
Still a show
you have
episode.
comedies. You have comedy series. You know, that's different.
Well,
But the dramas, the main thing is the dramas, like Twin Peaks was, and like The Sopranos was, and they're just like these long extended movies almost. But there's a little more to it than a movie because you get so many more details. It's like a novel. It's more like reading a novel, really.
it is.
I really like the series, the way series-based media is heading. It's
delicious.
so much.
It's almost
It's like movies. It's like like the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I really wanted it to be more than that, but how could you compact a series into one movie?
Yeah, you
can't do
sort
it.
of made a series out of it, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
Like, certain things work as a movie. It works as a movie. It worked fine as a movie.
Yeah.
And certain things don't. The Dark Tower wouldn't.
And didn't.
And didn't.
Wouldn't, didn't, shouldn't.
Or anyway, series books
Couldn't.
obviously would make good series movies, or shows. Maybe not all the time.
I mean,
Harry Potter is like the only example.
Because certain things are just
right, 'cause
cinematic.
that's contained per
Right.
Book.
episode is contained. Like,
But Game of Thrones.
like Game of Thrones
lends
like,
itself to
it's
it.
not.
But they adapted it to make it work
no,
like that.
You could do it. Like, let's just take all these arcs and make them this one arc.
Right.
Yeah.
Series is.
I mean, I haven't read the books.
Make a YouTube channel called Series is.
Series is.
And we'll talk about series.
But like Malazan, the book series that just finished,
I don't know what that
you
is.
can't make that. You can't. do that on
Hyperion
TV.
could be a dope series.
You
for
could
sure.
do that on TV.
Uh huh.
You could do that on TV.
Yeah.
For sure. That'd be cool as fuck.
It's just got the right tone, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Because you need a little bit of this, like, kind
If
of
you
like
do the tone correctly.
almost noir, kind of low driving stuff with it, which Hyperion had. It was a little rough around the edges. It was a little seedy, which I like in a novel for sure. But it was good. Clap it up. Clap it up. Jack it up.
Jan Simmons.
It's a slow clap. Slowly accelerating.
Damn. Goes for Dan Simmons.
Clapping doesn't accurately represent,
Shut up.
other stuff. Okay.
What?
Clapping does represent other
Click
stuff.
now.
What?
You're supposed to click now.
Clapping is other stuff.
Shit.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, beatniks do that. They snap like, "Hey, Joe, that was a great poem about your pubic hair. I love you." Yeah. Zap, zap, zippity, zap, zap. You do a little one of those. I'm drawing you
Like this?
do little farts.
Oh, Mark, can you
he
still
can do
fart
that.
with
He can-
like your armpits and elbows?
Since you can't see this, he's farting with his hands, and he can fart with his elbows and his armpits and his neck, I think, and just his ears and his pee hole and. Oh, that's the forearm, the center point.
Oh, I could do my wrist.
He's got a wrist fart happening. I'm not hearing it. I've seen it before.
There's a lot of hair now.
He's hairier.
It's different.
It's like a Sasquatch.
He can lift off vertically.
Anyway.
Anyway, there's many wins, many sources of fart noise. That's upper arm fart right there. Very nice.
Double upper forearm part.
Excellent.
The wrist.
The wrist one. That's a good one, man.
It was.
Time takes
There's a lot
away
of hair
things.
now.
Shave your wrists for that purpose.
Shave my wrists.
Properly fought it up.
I'll just do this.
Excellent.
It's a shallow impersonation of your former self.
Of myself, yeah.
You're a bad
I've
picture
had 2
of
wins.
yourself.
Well, 6.
6 wins because you get your own butt. Your own butt can do it.
Well, that would be 7.
My own butt. Okay, so we're gonna call it a day on talking about these movies. I think we might have covered it, unless somebody has something to add.
I mean, I just thought it was fucking weird that the guy was like a douchebag.
Yeah,
It's like I've got all these women. Look at all
Right.
the photos. They're on my wall.
that really drove the movie, and at the end, it really drove that ending scene where it's like the guy's like, "Can you really be mad at me for killing this dickhead?" And he's like, "Well, no, but you also beat the shit out of the fucking maid, and you killed somebody else, so it's clear
Right,
you're
they
jealous
killed-
and you're killing people."
They
I'm
killed
sorry.
the gay man. They killed
Yeah.
the innocent photographer dude who just happened to know
Yeah.
what was up.
Yeah, I think that's one of these noir stories where it's like people in over their head. Like he killed somebody who maybe he should have killed, who was a dick, but maybe he shouldn't have after his wife left him, maybe he should have just left her alone. I mean, obviously
Right.
they work together, so that's
Or just
complicated.
boot her out of the house and be like, okay, I'm done with you. This is what it's going to be.
Not kill her lover.
Right.
Just because, and also it's kind of weird that he killed her lover because he didn't want to commit. And he was kind of making a fool out of her. I could see that, though, because if you can really connect with somebody, you see somebody really hurt them, you're like, well, I'm going to kill you,
Right, but that's
Fingers
obviously
had
some
problems.
shallow ass shit.
But the thing with Fingers, though, is that's not where it stopped. It was also people, then it was like, well, now anybody who might know about it, I have to kill. It's like the killing begets more killing sort of thing.
Right, and the photographer was just like, give me your money because I'll take good photos and I know what I'm doing,
Wow. The blackmail angle on The Big Sleep is not something we talked about too much, but
Ooh,
it's a big part of
You're
it,
right.
obviously. Blackmail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Stern was just, like, generally being cool with blackmail. He just wants to find Reagan. He wants to find his, like, boy so he can live again through Reagan. It's like, did we see... Is Reagan in the movie?
I don't think we
No.
ever see him.
No. I mean, I think he's in the
I was
book a little bit.
confused during the last half of that
Me too.
movie
I get
because I
confused.
did not know who Agnes was.
Agnes is...
the bookstore woman.
Eddie...
I
No,
don't know who
not...
Agnes was.
but then there's the other lady who's Eddie Mars's wife.
Wife.
Yeah.
That we
Who's
we
hiding.
didn't see.
But
I
no,
can't remember
yeah,
why
you
she's
saw her.
hiding,
You saw her when
Why is she hiding, though? Like, Eddie Mars's wife.
because
I can't remember.
so
Mars is a gangster and
Right.
she's cheating on him.
No. She's not cheating on him.
because the thing that happened is the younger sister killed
Yeah.
the guy
Right.
and then
Killed Reagan because he didn't want to fuck her.
yeah,
Which might have happened
and
to
the older
Marlo.
sister's trying to protect her
Mhm.
and then
She knows there's something wrong with her.
and then basically
Borderline
they-
personality
they
disorder.
set
That's what
it
she
up.
has.
They set it up so that because the guy, what's his name? Reginald.
Reagan?
Regan?
Sean Reagan. Sean Reagan.
So they set it up so that it looked like that he ran away with Eddie's wife.
right.
But I don't know why Eddie was protecting.
Right.
Sean Reagan.
No.
Because she was
No,
maybe okay.
They're all protecting the younger sister.
Yeah, maybe he was doing it as a favor to Carmen.
Or
Probably.
to Vivian.
I mean Vivian.
Yeah.
I've got a favor for Vivian.
My
She would
balls.
tear you up, Mark.
I'd like her to tear
Word.
me up. I would let her debase me in every possible way. I don't want to base. I play guitar.
So yeah.
You're lame.
You're blue
But it's really weird how
You're
it-
blue pilled and debased.
So then the younger
Yeah.
sister kills
Cook it up.
Reginald or Reagan.
Yeah.
Reagan.
And then, but it's weird because in the way they describe it is that she was on drugs. She was on.
She's
something.
always on drugs. She was drank
She was on
ether.
something.
When he
She was on
came,
something.
that's fucked up. When he came to
Oh,
get
she
her, when
was-
she was getting the nude pictures done, she was drinking ether.
She was
Which I didn't even
drinking
know you could
ether?
do that. People huff ether, but she was drinking
She
it.
was drinking it.
Apparently, if you drink ether, you're just completely, your mind is fucked for a day.
Well, at least.
Yeah. It's
A
not
month?
good, and that's what she did. She
A
drank
year?
ether. In the book, it said she drank ether.
rest of
I don't
your
know
life.
if it said it in the movie.
You can't drink either.
That's what I'm saying. You can't.
Well, I
drink
mean,
that shit.
I mean,
people
you can,
do.
but I'm
People
saying,
do.
like-
and it does.
I'm
fuck
sure
you up.
people
It's
would
like being
try.
crazy drunk and like just insane.
Just
all
like
the
yeah,
time.
drunk for like a month.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah, that's what she was on. She was just. It makes you
my
incredibly out of it.
mind is
It'd be ideal if you were trying to like
fucked
control
for-
somebody or something. Like if you wanted them to do whatever you wanted, because
Like,
their mind and their free will is gone. And like,
What is that?
Right. I mean,
it's not like a devil's trumpet or
Sounds like-
scopolamine.
sounds like
they
you-
blow in
No,
people's
no, no.
face.
sounds like it's something
What's
you
the
poison
truth
people
serum?
with.
Oh, that's a sodium.
Oh,
Sodium
Pentothal or
yeah.
sodium amytal. It's one of the two. Sodium
it's not the
pentothal
pen,
is the
it's
real
the
one.
pen.
It's sodium pentothal.
Yeah.
In the book, Gravity's Rainbow by
Sodium
Thomas Pynchon,
naproxen.
they use sodium amytal for some reason, which is like a variation on the truth serum, and something weird happens. I can't remember, but I think that covers everything. I don't know.
All right.
All right.
All right, call it a night.
All right.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Signing off.
Signing off. Goodbye. We love you.